You pry open the door. With a screech of metal, the rusted hinges give way, and the entire door crashes down into the room beyond with a boom that echoes through the twisted maze of corridors. Oh, that's okay. I'm sure nothing heard that. Yeah. What's inside the room? Okay, well, it's a wide, long chamber. Down the middle of the room are arrayed a half-dozen low stone work tables. Above each of the tables, there's a twisted mass of complex machinery attached to the ceiling. All of these machines are rusted and corroded with age. All of them except for one. Which one? It's the one in the far back on the left side. The tables are arrayed in 2 rows of 3. Okay, got it. I'm gonna go check that table out. You cross the room towards the tables, passing between the ancient work tables to either side. What are you doing exactly? I want to examine the machinery. Can I see any reason why it's still working? Okay, give me a search check. 14. Okay. You cautiously approach the bench and then you reach up. As your hand nears the machinery, the illusion spell cloaking the table vanishes,
what? Oh, shit.
Revealing the gruesome corpse of a wolf lying on the tabletop. Its back has been cut open, and the flaps of flesh carefully pinioned to the table, revealing the bones, muscle, and internal organs within. Jump scares don't really work at the gaming table. The classic jump scare from film and TV combines audio and visual surprise, usually backed up with a soundtrack stinger and heightened by the actor's reaction. It's a bunch of stuff, all happening at once. As a GM, though, you're mostly limited to just your voice. So you can fake it a little bit if you literally just scream at your players. You crack open the door and blah! But it usually lacks the same punch. You can kind of startle your players, but they won't really see what's lurking behind the door because the jump scare, to be a jump scare, needs to be instantaneous, and explaining what they can see can't be. It takes time. With that being said, you can achieve moments that are broadly similar to jump scares by including unexpected twists in the middle of your descriptions. You're describing an idyllic glade and they stumble over a bloody corpse. They open a door and you're midway through describing the room in front of them when the door behind them slams open. Roll for initiative. This works best if you don't say stuff like, and then suddenly, or at that very moment. You want a sharp pivot, not a turn signal. You'll know you've got it right when the players do a double take and focus in. Wait, did I hear that right? With the players thrown off balance, you've got a chance to follow up with a gruesome detail, a monstrous horde, or a terrifying threat. Land the right blow in that moment, and you can send them into a total panic. Now, because it's so important that the initial pivot come fast and hard, you've basically got one sentence to make it work. A door slams open. A window shatters. The lights go out, or explode in a burst of light. A zombie's fist punches up through the ground and grabs their ankle. This works because the single sentence is giving just enough shocking detail to imply that something terrible is about to happen. Tropes and motifs supercharge this. If your sentence plays off familiar tropes, that can trigger your player's Peter tingle.
Please do not start calling it my Peter tingle.
That's how the vivisected wolf worked. My players had been primed through years of experience to know that illusion spell suddenly vanishing in the middle of a dungeon usually means something very bad is about to happen.
Okay, is this what bad? What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean?
The panic, therefore, is immediate, and that gives you the tabletop jump scare, opening a void of uncertainty and fear that you can then immediately fill by following through with a description that gives the full context of exactly why the PCs are screwed. Wrap things up by forcing the players to engage with the situation. Seeing a zombie at a distance can be really creepy, and that's great, but if the player needs to immediately react to the zombie grabbing their foot because otherwise it's going to rip out their throat, well, that's going to pull the player into the world. Forcing them to interact with the scene like that will also immerse them into the moment more deeply. You can do this without jumping straight into combat, though. The wolf, for example, isn't a monster. It isn't going to attack the PCs. But in context, it's a mystery. They'll quickly discover that it's been frozen in time. How? Why? Curiosity will pull the players in, and answering the questions will engage them. And that's the secret to a tabletop jump scare. But here's the twist. This video isn't about jump scares at all.
What?
I mean, if you think about it, maybe while staring into your refrigerator, why was there an illusion spell? I mean, this worked really well at the table, but it's a little weird, right? And that's because this whole scenario was the result of a mistake. When the PCs entered this room, I was supposed to describe the wolf's corpse lying on the table, but I misread the room key. Oops. If you'd like to avoid making a mistake like this in your own game, then DSCRYB, the sponsor of today's video, won't be able to help you at all. After all, DSCRYB can't stop you from misreading their award-winning descriptions, even if using them along with DSCRYB's immersive soundscapes and interactive maps can greatly enhance your games, whether you're using their full-blown adventure scenes or picking the stuff you need for your own adventures a la carte. Use the affiliate link in the font of all knowledge down below to support the channel, and let DSCRYB's team of talented writers, composers, and illustrators enhance and inspire your creative vision. Even though DSCRYB couldn't save me once I realized my mistake, I knew I had several options with the wolf. First, the wolf no longer exists. I didn't describe it, the environment has been interacted with as if it wasn't there, and so it's not there. It never was. My notes never made the jump from prep to the reality of what's happening at the table. If you're dealing with something non-essential, this can be the easiest solution. In the case of the wolf, it was technically non-essential, but it was very cool, if I do say so myself, and it would have been a shame to toss it out. So our second option is the simple retcon. Whoops, I forgot to mention there's a dead wolf on the operating table. This is pretty straightforward, but has the big drawback of completely disrupting the natural flow of the game. This disruption is often not so significant as to cause problems, but sometimes it is. For example, if the PCs have already taken an action or multiple actions that they wouldn't have taken if they knew about the information you forgot to tell them. Unraveling this continuity can be incredibly difficult, or even impossible if the players have since gained knowledge they didn't have before the mistake. In this case, the PCs hadn't taken any actions at the point where I realized I'd screwed up, but I knew that the retcon disruption would blunt the impact of the moment. The players would be focused on the retcon and wouldn't be fully reacting to the description. And since the entire point of the vivisected wolf was its creepy imagery, blunting the impact of that imagery would make it all pointless anyway. So our next option is to swap rooms around. This technique is great if there are a bunch of similar rooms in the same area. For example, if the PCs are supposed to find a dress with some weird stains on it in the master bedroom, but you goofed up, well, I guess the dress is actually in the closet of a different room, or maybe it's in the laundry room downstairs. So if there had been another convenient examination room nearby, I might have just moved the wolf corpse into there. Unfortunately, this was actually the last examination room in this particular dungeon. The PCs had already explored all of the other ones, which leaves us with a solution that's trickiest to pull off, but often the most satisfying in play. You just need to create a reason why your screw-up wasn't a screw-up. This is what I did with the wolf. Why didn't they notice the wolf as soon as they walked into the room? Well, because they couldn't see it. Why? Because there was an illusion spell. In more technical terms, I moved the wolf from passive observation, which is automatically triggered, and turned it into something that required interaction to perceive. But you can apply the same technique in other ways. That NPC really should have told them about the Duke's relationship with Countess Lovelace. So why didn't they? Well, just come up with an explanation. Blackmail? A hidden agenda that creates a conflict of interest? One cool thing about this technique is how often it actually makes the adventure more interesting. The tabletop jump scare of the illusion dropping was a great moment. An NPC with a secret agenda is probably more interesting, and the scenario more dynamic than if they just blabbed out the information. The trick, though, is that there's probably a reason why this extra layer of interest didn't exist in the first place. Or maybe not. Good ideas develop through play all the time. But it can be difficult on the fly and in the middle of a session to make sure all the continuity tracks on your hidden retcon, which can be intimidating. For example, what if the players want to know why there's an illusion spell covering the operating table? Well, first, of course, you should have some rough idea of why the retcon makes sense, even if it might not completely hold up to close scrutiny. In this case, my rationalization was that the wolf in mid-surgery is super gross. Nobody wants to look at that. You might as well throw up an illusion spell so you don't have to, right? Second, you'll benefit from the fact that continuity problems that seem glaring to you behind the screen will be significantly less so to your players. They don't have your omniscient knowledge of the situation. Our vivisected wolf, for example, ends up being pretty deep into fridge logic territory. And finally, when put to the question, you can just smile enigmatically. You're not obliged to pull back the curtain on your campaign and explain its inner workings. If something seems mysterious to the players and they want to figure out the why and the wherefore of it, the obligation lies on them to take actions in character to figure it out. And while they do that, you'll probably be able to flesh out your initial rationalization to the point where it does actually make complete sense. We're close enough. As we wrap things up here, it's important to remember that none of these techniques are ideal. On the other hand, YouTube loves engagement, so please do head down to the comments and remind us that we should never ever rewrite reality or lie to our players or have stuff in our game that doesn't make sense. On your way down there, remember to hit the subscribe button, but also try to remember that in an ideal world, we wouldn't screw up the room description in the first place, right? I mean, this is all triage. Oh, if you'd like to see the adventure our dear friend the Vivisected Wolf comes from, it's called Laboratory of the Beast, and it's available for free on my website. I've included a link in the font of all knowledge down below, right next to that DSCRYB link. If you do check out the adventure, you'll discover that I like the illusion-dropping jump scare so much that I ended up adding it to the scenario notes, so that you can use it too. If you'd like to support my videos, my adventures, my website, and any other mischief that I might get up to, you can also support me on Patreon. There's a link for that in the font too. If you're already a patron, thank you so much. This really wouldn't be possible without you. Good gaming. This is Justin Alexander, and I'll see you at the table.